down this way. Now, there's a couple things you got to think about when you're cutting it this way. Now, do you want your feathers to come up? Do you want your feathers to come back? Or do you want your feathers to come down? Me, I'm just going to bring them straight back. I'm not going to mess with it too much. So you're going to carve almost that much out. And now you're going to make your second cut for the left side in the same fashion. Now you're even. Now I want to pull this piece out. So I'm going to come in at a side, but I'm going to raise it just a little bit so the feathers come back just a little bit more. So we're going to come, you see, I have my mark here, so I know where this is going to go. Okay? Now I know where this is going to go. And you have to have a razor sharp knife. That's the other thing. Come on. And what's good about an apple, I mean, bad thing, good thing. Good thing, it's a good piece to carve. Bad thing is that you have a tough skin on the outside, so don't exert a lot of force. If you exert a lot of force, it'll slip, it will cut. The guy I learned how to do this from, he does all of his cutting like this, and I go, how do you not cut yourself?
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Oh. Anyway, the second piece is going to come out here. There it goes. Okay, so now I got my two sets of wings. Now, what I'm going to do down here, I'm going to give it some tail feathers down this way. So I'm going to make the same kind of cut, but I'm just going to make a huge V right about here.
Remember what you said earlier about the not pushing, but slicing with the knife instead of pushing against the skin.
Yeah, it's so much easier when you I make a little slice and then I regroup and then I come back in, and I will come back in and try to make these as equal as possible. There we go. Okay. Now, these are our feathers. Let me show you how they're going to form. Make a real thin cut here. We're going to bring it right down to about 1/8 of an inch all the way before it goes all the way through. Okay?
Show the camera. Okay.
I'm going to come to the other side. We're going to break this down just a little bit. Hopefully I don't go through. What I'm going to do is I'm taking a wedge out of here. Multiple wedges, and they are going to form our feathers. That'll be through yet. Not quite. It's a little delicate and it takes a little patience because you don't want to chop through it. I've done that and I've made it work, but you really want to keep the wedge whole as much as humanly possible. This first cut is always the hardest. I don't know why. Come on. There you go. Okay. And I'll continue. I'll do this about 3 times until I get the feathering I want. The thinner you go, the better you are. Some razor blades are easier to use.
This one he's been doing this for like over a year now, because we did this. He did some of these for a wedding we did a year ago, September. Why are you doing it with such a big knife? Can you use a smaller knife?
Well, I like, remember we talked about this this morning. A straight long knife is much easier to use.
Why is that?
Well, because I got to cut these long pieces.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
if I use my other regular cutting knives, they're a lot different.
The lines wouldn't be as straight.
Right. So when I'm doing...
That's your own knife, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He brought a whole
my whole set right there.
Look, that doesn't look. Our knife ain't that sharp.
This isn't even one of our better knives.
This is, this is like a razor. It's pretty damn sharp. I have better knives that I use for the business.
We're very particular about our knives.
I'm anal. I admit it.
I don't even let him take our house knives to the barbecue stuff. Ooh, he's getting really fancy now.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to the next side.
Sorry, I missed the beginning. What is this? A bird?
This is going to be a swan.
Okay.
And he used a long tapered apple
I was like,
for a
it's gotta be
swan.
a bird. I missed the beginning.
Well, and he used a long tapered apple because to make a swan, because usually the short, fat, round ones he makes into ducks. And what's the difference, Steve, between the duck and a swan?
Basically with the swan, I'll go 4 layers back, and because the apple's fatter in the front here and it tapers, it gives that longer swan-like look to it. Right now we're just doing the edge feathers, then we're going to do bottom feathers here, then I'm going to do a tail feather, then I'm going to take this and carve it into a head and mount the head.
Okay.